I often get asked what it's like to get started with Roar. So I wanted to give you guys a little glimpse into how easy it is to leverage Roar for your not only your existing customers, but also your new customers. So once you make your integration to your PSA, we'll do an inspection of the PSA with either our auto task inspection or our ConnectWise inspection. That's going to automatically discover all of your customer domains, and all you've got to go do is activate those domains. So those will show up as discovered systems. You'll activate those. You'll choose the customer, and it'll if there's an environment in there that you've synced with Roar from your PSA, it'll auto associate that in there. Then you activate those. Once those run, then what will happen is those inspections will discover your TLS and SSL certs. And then you want to start moving down the list of things that you can do easily, right? So if your customers are leveraging or you're using solutions that are like Meraki or Webroot or Datto or Ubiquity, for instance, those are all examples of inspections that can be done with a single API key. It'll auto discover all of your orgs underneath it. But what I want to focus on is our on-premise agents for today. So what you'll do is you'll go to admin agents and you'll download the agent script, and you can push this out with your RMM tool. You can go to our doc site. You can see those details on there, the steps that are on there as well. Okay, so how do I push out the agents and leveraging our MSI installer? So I've got an example here that I wanted to show you guys of what it's like. I've got a server pulled up here where the agent is already downloaded. And so I'm going to run this so that you can see what it's like, right? Let me get back to where, oh, there we go. Okay. So you just accept the terms and conditions, hit next, and hit install. Now what's going to happen is Roar is going to prompt you for some parameters that you're going to put into this thing, right? And those parameters are going to be for your instance of Roar. And so what it's going to require is it's going to require you to add an API key. So all you got to do is go into account settings. You go to access tokens. You generate a new token, right? These tokens are only used once, so I don't mind if you guys see this one on here. But you'll put in these parameters, the access key and secret, right? And those are things that can be done in your RMM as well. So I wanted to make sure that you guys see that. So when the thing runs, it's also going to ask you for some additional parameters like your instance of Roar, right? So your instance of Roar is going to show this URL. It's going to be probably a different, depending on which instance of Roar that you're on. This is the sandbox instance. But you'll be able to see those details, all right? And you'll put those parameters in there. And that's it. The first time that agent installs, then the first thing that it's going to do is it's going to do a Windows Server inspection, okay? And so that inspection will land, okay? And then what happens is now that inspector will start to do some additional discovery. So what it'll do is if you install that agent on a Active Directory domain controller, it's not required, but it's recommended that you do that because it reduces the amount of steps. You can install it on a member server. However, what you do is if you install it on a domain controller, then it's going to auto discover. It'll show up as discovered systems in with Active Directory, and all you've got to do is activate that launch point. Now, once the Active Directory inspection, what happens is it'll kick off automatically within a minute. Just let it run on its own. You don't have to trigger it. It makes it real simple. When that completes, then Roar is going to pivot back. It's going to discover all of your other Windows servers. Okay, so those will show up as discovered systems, and all you've got to do is go in and activate those launch points. Now, in order for Roar to do remote inspections with that single agent, by the way, then it does require that you go into the services on that server and simply give that service that's running on there, the agent, a service account to use, either an existing one or leverage one of or create a new one for Roar if you want to, for instance. So that's it. When the Windows servers inspections are done, then it'll also discover SQL. If SQL exists, for instance, if your customers are running line of business applications on their servers and there is a version of SQL installed, it's going to discover that, and you can further inspect SQL. Now, all of these details, folks, those are available on our doc site, easily accessible via docs.liongard.com. You can see all those steps. It's not hard to get started. Now, you can use that same on-premise agent, by the way, to inspect a customer's firewall from inside the network. Now, the firewalls, those take a little, probably about 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the firewall vendor that you use, to go in there and configure each of those. But the rest of the inspections, folks, it's very easy to get started, right? We're not launching rockets here, is what I like to say. It's very easy. Anybody on your team should be able to do this, and you'll have complete visibility into all of your customer environments very quickly. Now, then you can shift gears and you can do things like Office 365, which leverages our cloud agents. Okay. And when you do those inspections, you can easily grab the email addresses from this, drop them in identity monitoring, for instance. So now you have some visibility into your customers' email addresses and see if they've been part of a public breach. Okay. So it's not hard to get started with Roar, start getting visibility. And remember, when that information lands, by the way, it's going to start landing in your PSA like ConnectWise or into your documentation platforms like IT Glue, as long as you've turned on the configuration auto updating in the settings, right? So I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of what it's like. It's not hard to get started. It's very easy to onboard your existing customers as well as your new customers. I would leverage Roar in a pre-sale situation doing the same path, right? I would start with anything that I can inspect from the cloud. Before I walk into the door with the customer, I can check out their domains. These are deep DNS inspections, right? These are not high-level details. These are deep details that are publicly available so that you can identify things that the customers using technology-wise, like where their email is hosted, where their website is hosted, right? Who their DNS hosting vendor is. Deep DNS details, see where things are pointed to as well, A records, NS records. That's something that you can do without even having permission with the customer before you walk in the door, because this is publicly available information. This inspection discovers TLS SSL, and then when you get the permission from the customer to inspect their on-premise servers a little bit more, then that's when you would leverage one of our on-premise agents. Again, it's a simple MSI installer. You can install it manually, just like I did a moment ago. Like, just download, you can copy and paste this into the browser. It'll download the agent, you run it. It'll give you the parameters to walk through. It's very easy to get started. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. Join us on the automation journey and check out some of our other videos as well. Thanks for watching.